Hi, I'm Dave Seaver, CEO of Mind Alive Incorporated. There are some very good, viable technologies out in the world today that do not involve drugs for helping the mind perform better. At Mind Alive, we have these technologies. Prior to the creation of Mind Alive in 1981, there were already hundreds of studies done on the physiological response to flickering lights and pulsing tones. And there were also a handful of studies on the psychological response to flickering lights and pulsing tones as well. When we got involved, in 1984, in the design of the first DAVID-1 device, which stands for Digital Audiovisual Integration Device, or integrating brainwaves through digital audiovisual stimulation. We did not have this research at hand, and we were not even sure if this technology was viable and had clinical applications. In response to a request from an instructor in performing arts, I began the creation of the DAVID-1 system. The instructor in performing arts found it was rapidly reducing the tension and fear in his students who were struggling with stage fright. He also used it for hypnotic induction to help them age regress back to the time at which they developed stage fright, which was often grade 3 or grade 4 Christmas play or Easter play or some school production in which they forgot their lines, and although the teachers understood and the parents understood, the child was traumatized at failing his peers and teachers and parents. So audiovisual entrainment was used to age regress back to the origins of these performers' fears, but it was also used to relax people just before a performance so they would also perform better. After hearing these results in roughly 1986, I got interested in putting this on our TMJ patients. I started using it on our patients at the university and found that I could relax their jaws very rapidly and reduce pain and tension that they'd been struggling with for months. Finally, in 1988, I ran a study of our most troublesome TMJ patients, all of whom had severe tension and jaw pain and headaches and shoulder tension for 10 years or more. I found that flashing lights and pulsing tones off of our DAVID-1 machine at an alpha wave frequency could reduce the tension and the pain in their muscles within 10 minutes that often took me 2 months of biofeedback training to accomplish. And so, with all this excitement and seeing such exceptional clinical effectiveness, I thought this has got to be more than a new age fad. There has to be research on this somewhere. At that point, I've spent hundreds of hours in the Health Sciences Library at the University of Alberta, and I dug through all the research I could find. And to my astonishment, I found that the whole concept of driving brain waves was discovered in 1934 by Adrian and Matthews. And throughout the 30s and 40s and 50s, there were hundreds of neurological studies done on the concept of flashing lights and pulsing tones. There were two key researchers who took audiovisual entrainment on a different bend throughout the 50s. One was William Kroger, the other was W. Gray Walters. And what they did is they looked at the subjective effects, or how do you feel in the presence of blinking lights and pulsing tones, or how do you feel following 15 or 20 minutes of exposure to blinking lights and pulsing tones at theta waves or at alpha waves or at beta waves and so on. And they were really the first pioneers to show the clinical healing benefits of audiovisual entrainment. Since 1984, when I developed the first digital audiovisual integration device, Mind Alive has commissioned 18 independent studies looking at the DAVID systems for a variety of issues, cognitive decline in seniors, depression, attention deficit disorder, behavior disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, seasonal affective disorder, and stress and anxiety in general. This collection of research prompted me to start writing the first comprehensive book on audiovisual entrainment technology, which was called the rediscovery of audiovisual entrainment technology, because in a sense we were rediscovering what they had learned about in the 40s and the 50s. And since then I have published dozens of articles and publications, book chapters, and studies in journals as well. These studies have proven what we've been learning on an anecdotal basis, that indeed audiovisual entrainment is highly effective on most anyone. There are no side effects to be concerned about, and it's very affordable.